Role of irrigation. Irrigation is the life breath of agriculture. Its importance in the development of agriculture in general and monsoonal countries in particular hardly needs any emphasis. Very often, it plays a decisive role in the selection of crops to be sown, cropping pattern, intensity of cropping, crop combination, extent of yield and time of sowing the crops. In fact, a number of studies have proved that India can increase its agricultural production to a large extent if adequate irrigation facilities are available. Irrigation encourages the adoption of certain agricultural innovations like chemical fertilizers and manures, new varieties of seeds, plant protection chemicals because these innovations require assured and high doses of irrigation water. In this lesson, let us explore the impact of irrigation facilities on agriculture from the following headings. Perspective and objective of irrigation, sources of irrigation water, irrigation methods and their selection, surface irrigation, importance of irrigation in India and Indian agriculture. Perspective and objective of irrigation. A reliable and suitable irrigation water supply can result in vast improvements in agricultural production and assure the economic vitality of the region. Many civilizations have been dependent on irrigated agriculture to provide the basis of their society and enhance the security of their people. Some have estimated that as little as 15 to 20% of the worldwide total cultivated area is irrigated. Judging from irrigated and non-irrigated yields in some areas, this relatively small fraction of agriculture may be contributing as much as 30 to 40% of gross agricultural output. Effective agronomic practices are essential components of irrigated systems, and pest control may make as much incremental difference in yield as the irrigation water itself. Irrigation implies drainage, soil reclamation, and erosion control. When any of these factors are ignored through either a lack of understanding or planning, agricultural productivity will decline. History is absolutely certain on this point. Irrigated agriculture faces a number of difficult problems in the future. One of the major concerns is the generally poor efficiency with which water resources have been used for irrigation. A relatively safe estimate is that 40% or more of the water diverted for irrigation is wasted at the farm level through either deep percolation or surface runoff. These losses may not be lost when one views water use in the regional context, since return flows become part of the usable resource elsewhere. However, these losses often represent foregone opportunities for water because they delay the arrival of water at downstream diversions and because they almost universally produce poorer quality water. One of the more evident problems in the future is the growth of alternative demands for water, such as urban and industrial needs. These uses place a higher value on water resources and therefore tend to focus attention on wasteful practices. Irrigation science in the future will undoubtedly face the problem of maximizing efficiency. Irrigation in arid areas of the world provides two essential agricultural requirements: a moisture supply for plant growth which also transports essential nutrients, and a flow of water to leach or dilute salts in the soil. Irrigation also benefits croplands through cooling the soil and the atmosphere to create a more favorable environment for plant growth. The method frequency and duration of irrigations have significant effects on crop yield and farm productivity. For example, annual crops may not germinate when the surface is inundated, causing a crust to form over the seed bed. After emergence, inadequate soil moisture can often reduce yields, particularly if the stress occurs during critical periods. Even though the most important objective of irrigation is to maintain the soil moisture reservoir, how this is accomplished is an important consideration. The technology of irrigation is more complex than many appreciate. It is important that scope of irrigation science not be limited to diversion and conveyance systems, nor solely to the irrigated field, nor only to the drainage pathways. Irrigation is a system extending across many technical and non-technical disciplines. It only works efficiently and continually when all the components are integrated smoothly. Sources of irrigation water. The quality and quantity of the source of water can have a significant impact on the irrigation practices. Crop water demands are continuous during the growing season. The soil moisture reservoir transforms this continuous demand into a periodic one which the irrigation system can service. A water supply with a relatively small discharge is best utilized in an irrigation system which incorporates frequent applications. The depths applied per irrigation would tend to be smaller under these systems than under systems having a large discharge which is available less frequently. The quality of water affects decisions similarly. Salinity is generally the most significant problem, but other elements like boron or selenium can be important. A poor quality water supply must be utilized more frequently and in larger amounts than one of good quality. Sources of irrigation water can be groundwater extracted from springs or by using wells, surface water withdrawn from rivers, lakes or reservoirs, or non-conventional sources like treated wastewater, desalinated water or drainage water. A special form of irrigation using surface water is spate irrigation, also called floodwater harvesting. In case of floodwater is diverted to normally dry riverbed, wadis, using a network of dams, gates and channels and spread over large areas. The moisture stored in the soil will be used thereafter to grow crops. Spate irrigation areas are, in particular, located in semi-arid or arid mountainous regions. While floodwater harvesting belongs to the accepted irrigation methods, rainwater harvesting is usually not considered as a form of irrigation. Rainwater harvesting is the collection of runoff water from roofs or unused land and the concentration. Around 90% of untreated wastewater produced globally is being used as a source of irrigation water. Because agriculture has to compete for increasingly scarce water sources with industry and municipal users, there is often no alternative for farmers but to use water polluted with urban waste, including sewage, directly to water their crops. There can be significant health hazards related to using untreated wastewater, especially if people eat raw vegetables that have been irrigated with the polluted water. The International Water Management Institute has worked in India, Pakistan, Vietnam, Ghana, Ethiopia, Mexico and other countries on various projects aimed at assessing and reducing risks of wastewater irrigation. They advocate a multiple barrier approach to wastewater use, where farmers are encouraged to adopt various risk-reducing behaviors. These include ceasing irrigation a few days before harvesting to allow pathogens to die off in the sunlight, applying water carefully so it does not contaminate leaves likely to be eaten raw, cleaning vegetables with disinfectant, or allowing fecal sludge used in farming to dry before being used as a human manure. The World Health Organization has developed guidelines for safe water use. Irrigation methods and their selection. There are three broad classes of irrigation systems: pressurized distribution, gravity flow distribution, and drainage flow distribution. The pressurized systems include sprinkler, trickle, and the array of similar systems in which water is conveyed to and distributed over the farmland through pressurized pipe networks. There are many individual system configurations identified by unique features like center pivot sprinkler systems. Gravity flow systems convey and distribute water at the field level by a free surface overland flow regime. These surface irrigation methods are also subdivided according to configuration and operational characteristics. Irrigation by control of the drainage system, sub-irrigation, is not common but is interesting conceptually. Relatively large volumes of applied irrigation water percolate through the roof zone and become a drainage or groundwater flow. By controlling the flow at critical points, it is possible to raise the level of the groundwater to within reach of the crop roots. Irrigation systems are often designed to maximize efficiencies and minimize labor and capital requirements. The most effective management practices are dependent on the type of irrigation system and its design. For example, management can be influenced by the use of automation, the control of or the capture and reuse of runoff, field soil, and topographical variations, and the existence and location of flow measurement and water control structures. Questions that are common to all irrigation systems are when to irrigate, how much to apply, and can the efficiency be improved. A large number of considerations must be taken into account in the selection of an irrigation system. These will vary from location to location, crop to crop, year to year, and farmer to farmer. In general, these considerations will include the compatibility of the system with other farm operations, economic feasibility, topographic and soil properties, crop characteristics, and social constraints. Topography is a major factor affecting irrigation, particularly surface irrigation. Of general concern are the location and elevation of the water supply relative to the field boundaries, the area and configuration of the fields, and access by roads, utility lines like gas, electricity, water, etc., and migrating herds, whether wild or domestic. Field slope and its uniformity are two of the most important topographical factors. Surface systems, for instance, require uniform grades in the 0 to 5% range. The soil's moisture holding capacity, intake rate, and depth are the principal criteria affecting the type of system selected. Sandy soils typically have high intake rates and low soil moisture storage capacities and may require an entirely different irrigation strategy than the deep clay soil with low infiltration rates but high moisture storage capacities. Sandy soil requires more frequent, smaller applications of water, whereas clay soils can be irrigated less frequently and to a larger depth. Other important soil properties influence the type of irrigation system to use. The physical, biological, and chemical interactions of soil and water influence the hydraulic characteristics and filth. The mix of silt in the soil influences crusting and erodibility and should be considered in each design. The distribution of soils may vary widely over a field and may be an important limitation on some methods of applying irrigation water. Surface irrigation. Surface irrigation has evolved into a wide range of configurations which can be broadly classified as basin irrigation, border irrigation, furrow irrigation, and uncontrolled flooding. As noted previously, there are two features that distinguish a surface irrigation system. The flow has a free surface responding to the gravitational gradient, and the on-field means of conveyance and distribution is the field surface itself. Methods of surface irrigation. Efficient methods of irrigation enable the application of the right amount of water to the crop at the right time and its uniform distribution in the field. Irrigation water may be applied to the crops by spreading it in a sheet or in small streams on the soil surface by spraying it over the crop through pipes and nozzles or by applying it in drops to wet the crop root zone. Surface irrigation methods are classified by the slope, the size and the shape of the field, the end conditions, and how water flows into and over the field. Each surface system has unique advantages and disadvantages depending on initial cast, size and shape of fields, soil characteristics, nature and availability of the water supply, climate, cropping patterns, social preferences and structures, historical experiences, and influences external to the surface irrigation system. Border irrigation. Border irrigation is a controlled surface flooding method of water application. The field is divided into a number of long parallel strips called borders that are separated by low ridges. The width of a border usually varies from 3 to 15 meters. The length of a border varies from 60 to 120 meter in sandy and sandy loam soil, 100 to 180 meter in medium loam soils, and 150 to 300 meter in clay loam or clay soils. The border method of irrigation is most suitable for close-growing grain crops such as wheat, barley, and fodder crops. Field trials in India have shown that border irrigation is suitable in most areas of the country. Water is retained in the basin until it soaks into the soil. Basin irrigation. The basin method of irrigation is essentially the check basin method applied to orchards. In flat lands, the basins are square, while on sloping lands, the basins are formed by constructing ridges along adjacent contours with short cross ridges at either end. Usually, there is one tree to a basin. Sprinkler irrigation. In sprinkler irrigation, water is sprayed into the air through a sprinkler nozzle and allowed to fall on the land surface in a uniform pattern at a rate less than the infiltration rate of the soil. Sprinklers were introduced in India during the early 1950s. Initially, the sprinklers were used on high-value plantation crops such as tea, coffee, chicory, cardamom, and in orchards. Their use is gaining popularity on food crops, orchards, cotton, and vegetables in areas where sprinklers are economically justifiable and technically feasible, except rice and jute, and on nearly all soils. Drip irrigation. Drip irrigation, also called trickle irrigation, involves slow application of water to the plant root zone. The losses by deep percolation and evaporation are minimized. A precise amount of water is applied to replenish the depleted soil moisture at frequent intervals for optimum plant growth. The system enables the application of water and fertilizer at an optimum rate to the plant root system. The amount of water supplied to the soil is almost equal to the daily consumptive use, thus maintaining a low moisture tension in soil. Importance of irrigation in India and Indian agriculture. Agriculture is of fundamental importance in India's economy. Various analyses of the role of irrigation in India's agriculture have shown that irrigation has played a core role in agricultural production and growth. Although gross irrigated area, currently 90 million hectare, includes double cropping, is a minority, about 1/3 of total cropped area. The area of irrigated land greatly exceeds the productivity of rain-fed farming. India has a monsoon-dependent farming system. With unreliable rains and large areas with rainfall less than 1000 mm per annum, irrigation has been a crucial input for agricultural production. The production impact of Indian irrigation has occurred through 4 routes: cultivated area expansion, cropping pattern shifts, productivity enhancement, and increase in reliability. Some of the primary reasons of irrigation in our country is because it does not rain equally in all parts of the country. So, irrigation is necessary for agriculture in less rainfall areas. Soils of some areas are sandy and loamy and therefore porous, for which a major portion of rainwater sinks down very quickly. So, sandy and loamy soils can't retain water like the alluvial soil and the black soil. That is why irrigation is essential for farming in the areas having sandy and loamy soils. The rainwater flows down very quickly along the slopes of hillsides, so irrigation is necessary to grow crops in such areas. India is an agricultural and populous country. About 70% of the people depend on agriculture. In order to grow food crops and agricultural products in large quantities to feed the growing millions, intensive farming and rotation of crops are essential. Extensive irrigation is therefore necessary for more production. When our country got freedom, there was provision of irrigation only in 17% of the total farmlands. More attention was paid to irrigation in order to make the country self-sufficient in production of food crops, as a result of which about 37% of the total farmlands have been provided with irrigational facility by now. The importance of irrigation in the Indian agriculture cannot be overestimated in view of the peculiar nature of rainfall in the country. Irrigation in India has been practiced from ancient times, and irrigation tanks and wells are a familiar feature of the India landscape to supplement and conserve the rainfall. Artificial lakes and canals that dot the country in hundreds are centuries old, and some of them have served for more than 1000 years. The Grand Anicut or dam across the Kaveri in Tamil Nadu, built in the 2nd century, and the Bhojpur Lake in Bhopal, constructed during the 11th century, bear testimony to the skill the Indians had acquired in the development of irrigation works in the ancient times. Nearly all arable land under cultivation, and with limited progress with technological breakthroughs for rain-fed crops, irrigated agriculture remains to be the key contributor to India's agricultural development. By far, the most important contribution of irrigation to Indian agriculture was in facilitating the spread of the Green Revolution. In terms of relative share in India's irrigation potential, surface water in canals accounts for 39%, groundwater 47%, and other water sources 14%. Regionally, the major states in terms of irrigation area are Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, Bihar, Haryana, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Orissa, and West Bengal. In most states, groundwater irrigated area exceeds the surface irrigated area. Water is the most critical input for enhancing agricultural productivity, and therefore expansion of irrigation has been a key strategy in the development of agriculture in the country. The ultimate irrigation potential of India has been estimated to be 139.5 million hectares, comprising 58.5 million hectares from major and medium schemes, 15 million hectares from minor irrigation schemes, and 66 million hectares from groundwater exploitation. India's irrigation potential has increased from 22.6 million hectares in 1951 to about 90 million hectares at the end of 1995. It is estimated that even after achieving the full irrigation potential, nearly 50% of the total cultivated area will remain rain-fed. If we analyze agricultural growth during the past 4 decades, we find that high-yielding varieties, irrigated area expansion, and fertilizer use have been the major factors contributing to the achievement of green revolution in India.